of the real powerful things about Catchball is they get to be a part of the conversation. They get to be part of how are we reaching it? Are we doing the right thing, doing the right work to make sure we get our goals? And I think that's really kind of the neat part about Catchball. So just as we're talking about this being operating model 101, I think that's a great key takeaway for our frontline staff is that they get to be a voice and their ideas get to be heard as part of the Catchball process.
Yeah, because if they're not moving the dial on a particular, if let's say their goal was to, and I'm just making this up completely, reduce workplace violence, and they've done some sort of a leading measure they're checking every day to see if they're going to impact that workplace violence. If the workplace violence hasn't moved at all, that probably wasn't the right leading measure or daily behavior. So maybe the team's going to say, hey, let's try this instead, and again, be able to see that some of their decision making, some of their problem solving is actually what's going to help drive that versus I'm just being told to measure this and I don't know why and that sort of a thing. So I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of where that feeling is of we change our plan all the time, right? You've heard frontline staff probably say this, so we're doing this now, but it's going to change and we're going to do something different. And I think that's where that feeling comes from is they don't understand that process of changing sort of what they're doing to make sure we meet those goals. But now, when we're bringing to them and they get to decide on those goals, now they'll be part of that process. So hopefully it'll eliminate kind of that culture of we're sort of shifting frequently.
I think the coolest thing for this year in particular, we've heard a couple of people say, I've been in this organization a long time and I've never had my goals for the upcoming year before that year even started. I think that's huge. Whether they're perfect or fully ironed out, the fact that they have something before we can turn to 2020, I think that in itself shows how powerful this tool can be. Granted, we are far from perfect.
I've been in healthcare 30 years and I've never had that happen, ever. So I was super excited for us as an organization to have that accomplished.
Even when I first came here, it was like July and we're getting that year's goals, and I'm like, all right, well this year's already halfway over.
Right,
Thanks
exactly.
for now giving my focus. So I think that's where we really got to hone in and see the value that this tool is going to bring. But again, it is going to be something that we're going to have to refine and get better at. So does that kind of help clear out Catchball? Again, we're still working on it, and it's going to be a refined process every year. It might look a little different. For round 2 that we went through for 2020, I think there's a better understanding. I know I better understand it. I still wouldn't consider myself an expert because I learned so much this year. But does that kind of give everyone a better sense of what Catchball is? It sounds like people got to participate in that process. Eric?
Are you guys, as continuous improvement, going to be putting together success stories and maybe lessons learned? Because I think for us as project managers, we don't deal with the front line total too much. I think that's where, in my eyes, the biggest benefit can come out of this. But to that point, for us and kind of working in projects, it might be cool to kind of see that, but then also see where some things might not have worked, just to kind of keep that in perspective.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. We talk about it a lot, but I don't know that
Yeah.
we've talked about compiling it and putting it out there for people to see. So that's a great suggestion.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Sandra.
So it says include your CI advisor. Is there a advisor assigned to every area in the organization, or is that still?
Great question. So I can speak to Wisconsin. I can't speak to the other regions. But we're currently going through a restructuring.
Yeah.
Obviously, Melissa's team is joining CI, so we're getting more resources, which is awesome. So I know there was a meeting last week where there was a couple options on the table, kind of figure out what is going to be the best way to structure our team in terms of really more supporting the leadership kind of from that lens versus I support these clinics or this ministry. Again, there'll be some of that, but it's more kind of leader focused. So those details are still being worked out. I would presume when that's final, there will be a communication to kind of know who your point person will be for the various ministries and leaders across the region. I don't want to speak to St. Louis. I would envision it's probably very similar. I think we're trying to align as a CI team to make sure we're supporting the regions in a very similar fashion.
I would say everyone across the system has CI resources available. We're actually working in our department, we're creating, it's like a glossary, so you would click on what your region is, what your department is, what ministry that you work out of, and then it'll direct you to the CI resource kind of point person. So something like that is coming, but you
that's
have one,
perfect.
it's possible you just don't know, who it is, and it sounds like maybe Wisconsin's doing a little restructuring. But that information will be available to everyone.
Dean or Bethany, since I wasn't at that meeting, did I speak correctly to kind of the gist of?
I was not at the meeting either.
Oh, Bethany.
It's all on Bethany.
No, I think you're correct, Scott.
Okay.
We'll be allotting and putting people best fit for the region throughout all Wisconsin, so there will be support throughout all of the Wisconsin region.
And I can say with addition of Melissa's team, we still don't max out with where we
Correct.
want to be from a staffing perspective.
Correct.
So, Tiff?
I have a couple points. For the idea sharing, we are working towards a method of idea sharing and submitting ideas. And I think that will help identify common areas or ways that we can focus. So if multiple people are putting in different areas and listing what barrier they're trying, different ideas and listing what barrier they're trying to overcome with that idea, it'll help us determine, well, these ideas have been, 20 of these ideas have been submitted in regards to this barrier, so this is a focus point too. And then, depending on what KPI, it's going to change who the frontline user is, if that makes sense. So like, staff that, CNAs that cannulate patients aren't probably going to have much to do with the budget, but somebody in project management will be able to affect a KPI that's more related to revenue and budget and that, if that makes sense. So depending on which KPI you're looking at and your team chooses to play catchball with, that's where you'll see what impact you can make in your department. It's not just a frontline patient care type scenario, if that helps.
All right, great questions. I'd like to keep us moving just to make sure we have time to cover all the other great material we have. So we're going to kind of do a fun little activity. We're going to get out of healthcare and we're going to jump into football. It's perfect time just given the Packers are still doing well and one of the Final Four teams. So we are going to kind of play ball here, and what we'd like you to do is pretend that you all work for a football franchise. Let's just say we all work for the Packers. Even if you're not all Packer fans, because I know there's one particular in this room who's not. So the catchball process has kind of gone through the various footballs here, the owner, president, president, vice president, all the way down. And now we're going to have you all focus kind of as the supervisor team member level. And what we'd like you to do is, the owner and president want to increase sales this year by 30%. So concession stand sales, they want to increase those by 30% from last year. So what we'd like you to do is, if you could turn to page 16 in your participant's guide, and just borrow yours. And particularly this little sheet here. What we're going to have you do is you're going to work in teams of 3. For the sake of just less moving, we'll just kind of have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Sound good? And we just need one person to scribe what we would like you to do. Don't worry, Tyler, I'll give you your book back. We're not going to count by 4s, we're going to skip that part. One member of each team will be assigned the role of manager. We'll begin the catchball process by reading the script, which is right here. So on page 15, the manager will use the script. And then teams will discuss possible action items, document and finalize on the football ticket. 3 ideas as the top priority action items to achieve the concession stand goal, which is increasing sales by 30%. And then we'll have each group do a quick report. So questions with the activity. So one person can be the supervisor, start off by reading the script. Just need one person to describe those top 3 ideas that you have. Yes,
What level is this? This is at
So
department level?
if you're not the supervisor, then you're all kind of concession stand workers. I don't know what the proper terminology is for those type of roles. Your customer service specialist. How's that? That sounds official. All right.
Question.
Yes.
By improving sales by 33%, you mean dollars or?
I will let you have that conversation within your team. That's a great conversation to have within the catchball process. All right. We'll give you about 7 minutes.
How we understand the catch-all process. By sharing our goals, I think that's our target. Our next step is to have an open conversation. We're going to set out to
Let's just say, it's not so great, like next year.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, they do that kind of development. Raise prices, that was a good way to get.
Concession sales. So last so we were, as you guys there. Now your guys, so like,
Yeah. That popcorn's gonna make you thirsty.
Right, or you look at two different cost perspective.
By X amount of something, and then you get,
Bundle items together maybe for.
but I think
Just to get a large popcorn.
Right, it's like
I wasn't gonna buy all that stuff, but.
for an extra $5, you know, for the whole thing, very low cost.
What are those stadiums already back in?
Yeah. You could also have more boots on the ground, so not just having someone actually walks around, you know, showing some food items.
I really want to get okay,
I like the bundling thing, I think the thing is stupid. I said.
Okay.
Scratch that dumb idea.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked through it, you know, that's a way to show the value, but I like to think about
Where it's located.
I think we can kind of scratch just like straight up increases cost. I think that goes to what everything, but I think it's topic of, you kind of disguise your cost increase with like a real kind of, I think you're gonna, see kind of like the showings of the sort of appealing display, drive.
High marginalized, right?
Exactly.
Taco, like a taco.
About 2 more minutes.
And you can go and check boots on the ground, take the items, not only when you go to the concession stand that you're seeing the things that you should see, but, more, you can see them.
Pay people to walk around just munching hot dogs.
Yes. Right, if it's funny, you know you're gonna get people's attention.
You're gonna increase prices, do we say that, or do we scratch that?
Increase scratching, I think is with the volume, I think we're able to beat that.